Kevin Weeks here on Tim and Sid. Happy goal. What's going on, Weeksy?
I'm good. You guys are politicians too. You see how squiggly you guys are. You guys, but you know what? That's a good save. You put it back on the rails. I'm ready to go. What's going on? I've been watching you guys for the whole show so far. What's happening?
Really?
Why?
How we doing? How we doing?
You guys are good. I like what you guys are cooking up so far. I like the gingham style shirt. You guys look sharp. You guys are bringing it today. You're on your game today. The puck's your friend today, not your enemy.
Sid doesn't know what gingham means.
Up gingham.
It's checkers.
Gingham style shirt, like the song.
Checkers. Yeah.
That song's a lot of YouTube hits. I'm confused.
He's the guy who.
Oh my God.
He's the guy who plays Sharp Dressed Man, and he doesn't know what gingham is. It's checkers. That's good.
I know,
it's checkers.
right?
Okay, I'm learning stuff today. I don't know.
He's the one with the diamond cufflinks or the diamondoid.
It's diamondoids. Hashtag Cosby Show. Kevin Weeks here on Tim and Sid. All right, Kevin. First question: why is Canada awesome at everything?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's a lot easier to be awesome at everything when you spend more money and give a lot more support and infrastructure to other things than just doing it hockey. I mean, growing up, I played with a lot of great athletes, a lot of people that ran, 11 or sub-11, 100 meters, guys that could jump 35, 40 inches, and just a lot of great athletes, good baseball players. And quite frankly, we never really had a lot of infrastructure and support. And unfortunately, for the other athletes, I'm somebody that chose hockey, so fortunately we had that. But for a lot of the other athletes in Canada, they're often underfunded and often ignored. So it's amazing what happens when you provide a lot more infrastructure and support at a grassroots level and you give a lot more of that support to our Olympians. And then you look at our medal totals and they reflect that once again. So that's great to see. I'm as happy as I am for Team Canada, hockey, men and women's teams. Maybe even a little bit more happy and excited for a lot of the other sporting disciplines that for a lot of years and quite a long time here never had the support that they deserve. So it's great to see a lot of those athletes doing their thing too.
Here. I'm going to ask you a question that I know will be tough for you because I think that given the time that we've spent together, Kevin, on this show, I've got to know your personality. If I forced you to take only one player from this Team Canada team for your NHL hockey team for 1 year, who is it?
I'd say it's Jonathan Toews. It's Jonathan Toews because Jonathan Toews, you look at his resume and what this guy's been able to do, but he's a guy that can impact the game whether he's on the score sheet or not. And he's a guy that, very similar to Sidney Crosby, from a leadership standpoint, from a consistency, in terms of his intensity each and every day in practice, always does the right things, off-ice workouts, and just being in the locker room and looking across from that guy and literally getting goosebumps the way I did from being across from a Mark Messier when I played with him. And I'm not putting him in the Mark Messier category in terms of his ability to score points.
He's only four cups away, Weeks. He's only 4 cups away from being Messi.
But he's only 4 cups away, but he's won everything there is under the sun to win.
Yep.
So, and he continues to win. And I'm just telling you, this guy is a special guy. He's a special player. He's a mature individual. The way he handles himself on and off the ice, the way he handles himself in Chicago, in market with their fans, he just always seems to do things on a high level, no matter what situation he's in. I've seen him with the Wounded Warriors. I was speaking to Chicago earlier today. We're actually going to have Stan Bowman on the NHL Network. We'll be interviewing him in about half hour.
Nice.
And, for all that he does behind the scenes, really helping to push the Blackhawks to get equipment for the USA Wounded Warriors, just things of that nature. He's just a rock star in my eyes.
It's sacrilege to some to take anyone over Crosby, right?
Absolutely, and I don't say that
speaks to the talent of Toews.
Correct. The easy pick is Sid, and Sid's amazing in every single way. And keep in mind, both these guys also played at Shattuck St. Mary's Prep School in Minnesota.
Yep.
They've got a lot of respect for each other, and this will kind of crystallize it for you guys and for a lot of the listeners out there. When Sidney Crosby was named captain of this team, he went to Jonathan Toews and asked him if he was okay with that. So if that's Sidney Crosby doing that, that tells you everything you need to know.
Respect. Kevin Weeks.
In every aspect.
Here on Tim and Sid. This question for you, Kev. Question for Tim as well. Which of the following 3 gold medals meant more to Canadians? Men's hockey in Salt Lake, men's hockey in Vancouver, or men's hockey yesterday?
Oh, my goodness.
Which meant more?
I would say men's hockey in Vancouver, because we were hosts. The pressure was beyond the tips of any of those mountains out in BC in terms of the enormity of the pressure, the magnitude, the intensity of it. And, Vancouver is a great hockey market. It's a good sports market in general. There's a lot of pressure there as it is on their club team, on the Vancouver Canucks, who at one time were arguably the baddest team in the world. And I mean that even though they lost Game 7. If you go back and look at that Vancouver Canuck team, first in face-offs, best goals against, best power play, best penalty kill, you name it. So that pressure that Team Canada had playing in that building on home soil, I just think was enormous. And although all of them are very special, I think the ability of Team Canada to come through in the clutch, especially when you contrast and compare what happened in Russia, who was hosting the Olympic Games this year and spent almost $60 billion to do it, I think that kind of puts it in perspective.
Kevin Weeks joining us here on Tim and Sid.
What's Tim McCall?
I agree with you, and I know full well that Salt Lake was the first in 50 years. Like, I take that into consideration. First gold in 50 years for Canada, completely taken into consideration, and I still think Vancouver was more because it was on home turf. Let me ask you one more. We only got about a minute left, Kev, so let me throw it out there. Are the NHLers in Pyeongchang?
Not certain. And these are the reasons why I'm not certain. I mean, if you look at a potential World Cup of Hockey scenario where the NHL and the NHLPA will be able to split the revenues, you look at all the opportunities from the TV partners to a lot of your corporate partners and their ability to market and activate around that. You have a lot more control of the scheduling. You'll be able to host it in NHL venues like a Vancouver, like a Montreal, Toronto, a Chicago, maybe even get creative and host some games in LA at Staples Center. I mean, it just creates a wealth of opportunities, and also the opportunity for a lot of our fans here in North America to be able to see those games firsthand a lot easier on TV, but also to be able to watch them. So I'm not certain. I'm not certain it's going to be a slam dunk. The Olympics is a great platform. There's nothing like the four rings of the Olympics, but I got to tell you, I'm really intrigued about the potential of a World Cup of Hockey scenario, especially for us that grew up with Canada Cups as well. So, and the World Cup of Hockey before. So I'm not convinced that it's a slam dunk that they're going to Korea. I think they're looking at every different factor right now that goes into it. There's not a lot of control that the NHL or the PA has, and our players are the product. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
I'm with you. It's going to be interesting. Kevin, wish we had more time. Got to say goodbye, but always a pleasure, my dude.